Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Renegade Reviews. These are your comic books for 8/15/2018, August 15th, 2018. We're back after a couple weeks of hiatus, getting a little catch-up done. We've been having a lot of real-life stuff, but we're back with some really good comic books this week.
Yeah, tons of books from like 2 weeks.
Yes. So I'm going to start off talking about Zenescope. Since I did read a book from Zenescope, this book is coming out tomorrow. This is actually issue 2 of Revenge of Wonderland, which we talked about the first one a few weeks ago. Once again, a very good book, great cover art. That, you know, it's, as we've said before, Zenescope artwork is simply amazing.
Yeah.
I am actually here, Chief. I will actually, since you didn't get this, I'm going to forward this to you. Well, actually, hold up. I think I can do it this way, right? Boop, boop.
If you've got it up on your screen, you can share screen.
Oh, you're right. I can. Oh. So let's do this now. All right. You go down there, and you come here. All right. There we go. There's the cover.
Hey, look at that.
Look at that cover. That is a fantastic cover by looks like I'm trying to read the name. It's so small.
Alan Otero.
No, this cover is by, looks like J. Arrow.
J. Arachito.
Yes, it's very small to see. But in this episode, picking up right where we left off with issue 1, the Duchess has come into the real world because of this girl who's a super fan of Callie, who was one of the original people in the Wonderland series of books. Kidnaps her, takes her to Wonderland, and the book kind of revolves around Callie and her daughter Violet, kind of realizing that there is something going on in Wonderland. There is something. Wonderland is back with a vengeance. And it's them trying to figure it out. Violet looking through Google images, looking for anything having to do with Wonderland, big purple cats, mirrors, anything like that. And I love how her laptop has a Zenescope label on it. So Zenescope makes laptops. But she does come across some things, which ultimately leads to her mother Callie having to sober up and head to Wonderland. The artwork, as I'm flipping through here real quick, is amazing. I mean, look at that, Chief.
Oh, look at that.
When you look at how you doing, girl? Look what you doing. That's like metal and leather. But some interesting splash pages. Panda will enjoy it because there is a bunny.
Yes.
There's a bunny.
I found 2 baby bunnies in my yard this week.
Oh, I got a couple baby bunnies in my yard too. And then, Callie's now on a mission to save her daughter and to stop Wonderland once again. Zenescope puts out some amazing titles, and I'm going to give Chief a sneak peek at what we got coming next week. We actually have Grimm Fairy Tales coming next week, Chief.
Oh, very nice.
So every week they're putting out some amazing books. Next week we have Knights of the Round Table, Grimm's Fairy Tales.
Look at that.
So can't wait to see that. Looks like it's got trolls and ogres and gargoyles.
Yeah, it looks cool.
So we'll definitely be bringing you that one next week. But epic book from every book this week from Zenescope. This is Revenge of Wonderland #2. Highly recommend this book if you're a fan of Alice in Wonderland, and especially if you've read any of the past Wonderland stories from Zenescope. Definitely pick this up because it's a great continuation.
Right on. Looks cool.
Moving on, let's move on to IDW here. Because you got a couple from IDW, correct?
Yeah, but I need to see my screen so I can get to my books.
Okay.
Stop share screen.
All right, I will stop share. There we go.
Right on. Yeah, I got. Let me get to the actual main page of IDW.
So I had I had Sonic the Hedgehog issue number 8 coming off the last issue with Sonic versus Metal Sonic. This one introduces, brings Shadow the Hedgehog in, and also brings in a brand new character that I will not spoil for you, but it is a brand new character, one I do not believe I have ever seen before in a Sonic story. But once again, it's more fast-paced action, a lot of dialogue to kind of catch things up on what's been going on in the world. Of course, Silver, being from the future, comes back to kind of tell what's happening, what kind of happened in the timeline. So once again, great artwork. It's a good story. Just kind of still for me, still waiting for it to go to see if it's going to stay kind of this mid-range or if it is going to end up going dark like some of the Sonic stories in the past have gone. That's what I'm still waiting on to see if Ian Flynn is going to take us into that dark kind of realm of Sonic that we knew in like the 100s and 200s a bit.
Yeah. Excellent. I hear a dog barking in the distance.
Not one of your dogs, right?
No, just a random dog out there barking around. All right, up for me. Okay, so we're going back to the August 8th books. I read the D&D Evil at Baldur's Gate from IDW, number 4. These are pretty cool. It's D&D. It's a story. It's an ongoing comic, and I never read one of these before, and this is 4 issues in. So it's these guys are on a quest, a D&D quest, and this one of their friends gets bitten by a werewolf and becomes a werewolf in a tavern, and starts a big brawl with everybody. So they have to subdue her, and then they go to this wizard, and he does a spell, and he like actually goes into her mind and like pulls the werewolf demon out of her and heals her from lycanthropy, which apparently D&D wizards can do. Mm-hmm. And so now they're off on their mission. Basically, that's it. I mean, it's an ongoing. So I mean, that's basically all I can give you without getting into every single detail of the book. Because I mean, basically, this woman just flips out in a bar and becomes a werewolf, and then they have to chain her up and do this weird werewolf ritual where they like go inside of her mind,
right? And
she has to confront the werewolf herself. But these D&D books, I never read one of the D&D books from IDW. It's pretty good. I might start reading these now every week. The artwork was pretty good, and I like D&D, and it's all fantasy and trolls and ogres and orcs and shit. So it's pretty cool. Let's see, what's the other one that I got here? And Lowlife's number 3 from August 8th. Lowlife's is the story of a cop who's a dirty cop, and he's on the take from this drug dealer kind of gang lord guy, and he needs a guy killed basically, and so he goes to this drug dealer that he kind of he gets a kickback to look the other way. He's not really involved with him. He doesn't do anything. Like personally, he doesn't like get his hands dirty in crimes,
right?
But this guy, he needs somebody killed, and he can't. He's a cop, so he can't do it. And so he goes to this guy that he works for, and says, "Look, I need you to kill somebody for me. I need you to get rid of this guy because it's a guy that like raped his wife and got away with it because the evidence was washed away inadvertently." And so this guy got away with it, and he like stalks and taunts this cop's wife all the time. Huh. So he goes to this gang leader and says, "Hey, you need to get rid of this guy." But the gang leader says, "Well, if I'm going to do this is a big order. You're going to have to start making collections for me and actually getting your hands dirty in this business." So now it's this thing where he's trying to balance being a cop and shaking down people that owe this guy money while trying to find his way out of this situation. So it's pretty good. I think that's Buccellato does that one. Let me pull it up, see if I can get it up here real quick. At least get the credits page up, give credit where credit is due. I should have done that with D&D, but the IDW runs really slow. Yeah, this is Brian Buccellato, Alexis Cincinnac that do this book. But I really like it. I mean, it's like uh, I'm usually not too into like gritty realism in my comic books. I'm usually more of a capes and tights kind of guy, or like fantasy, like Conan or something.
Right.
But I kind of dig Lowlifes. It's pretty good. I liked Buccellato when he was doing Flash, so I kind of follow him around and read different stuff that he does. So it's pretty damn good. Um, I liked that one. I was going to go back and see if I could find the credits for the D&D. Well, you could. It's called D&D Evil at Baldur's Gate #4. So if you all you guys want to go out there and look up the credits to that, you can do that. This week from IDW, I checked out. There wasn't much that I normally like read. There was a lot of like big like omnibuses and like trades and stuff that came out. Besides like Sonic and like there's a couple of Star Trek books, some TMNT. But what I really wanted to check out and what I downloaded to look at is the John Byrne X-Men Artifact Edition.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And it's all his original artwork for the X-Men run with Claremont. And man, there is some gorgeous stuff in this. It's great because it is just every bit of it is the books, but it's the original artwork scans of the books, and you can see all the stuff in the margins. You can see like the little notes and stuff that they put in it for colorists and whatnot. And man, it's really cool. Like you can see where the pages are yellowed, even where they were, and like you can see the stuff in the like the color directions in the margins. And man, it's John Byrne. I just read that he's just now being courted by Marvel again.
Oh, really?
For the first time in a long time. Yeah, I guess he's going to start working for Marvel again. But man, Byrne, one of my all-time favorite comic book artists, besides Kirby being probably my all-time favorite, of course, because Kirby more or less created the look and the feel of the Marvel Universe. But John Byrne, his everything, Avengers, X-Men, Fantastic Four, everything that he ever did. Superman, I believe, is another one that Byrne did. Man, just amazing, an amazing guy. And I think I like his X-Men better than anyone else's. Just that era, just the way Colossus looks during that era, the way Wolverine looks, the way all of them look. And so this, if you're a big fan of the Byrne Claremont run on X-Men, if you're a fan of just comic art in general, like behind the scenes kind of stuff with comics, man, get this, because this thing is amazing. And they're usually pretty expensive for these big editions like this. So it's really cool that I get to look at it. IDW is cool enough to let us have these previews. But man, I highly recommend later, dude, if you want to check this out, man, you should really check out. It's just all the black and white pre-colored artwork, just the ink and black and white. And man, there is some cool shit in here. And it's huge. There's so much to it, and it's just all of Byrne's best stuff, man. And I love it. So that was one that I checked out. That it's called the. Go back to the top here, and of course IDW's thing that they give us doesn't work. Okay, John Byrne's X-Men Artifact Edition. I keep saying edition. Artifact Edition. But man, really, really cool. I would highly recommend that to people that are really, I mean, there is a market for this. A lot of people buy these artifact editions, like guys like Aaron Myers and stuff buy these books. And man, this is one that I would get. Like I normally wouldn't buy one of these. I would buy this just because it's John Byrne. I'm a huge Byrne fan. So there was that one, and then the only other one that I have from IDW for this week is the ROM Space Knight trade, the Cold Fire Hot War. Man, there are a ton of people worked on this. Ryal, I guess, another comic book guy, I can't pronounce his name. Ryal, Gage, Messina, Joseph Villanelli, Dorian Sr., and Basina.
Ah, yeah.
And man, I really dig this. I thought that they were totally, and to a degree, I guess they did, rewrote the origins of ROM. I wasn't reading the IDW ROM. I'm familiar with the Marvel ROM Space Knight series from back in the day. I think I've got almost all of it. I think I'm missing a couple issues of it, and I've got the whole run. But the IDW, I hadn't read any of the ROM, and of course, it's based on the old toy from back in the day.
Right, right.
But this is pretty much about it. There's elements of Marvel in this. There's elements of the other books at IDW in this. It's this big, huge arc about an alien invasion of Earth. And Rom is one of the Space Knights of Galador, obviously, and he comes to save the Earth. He's a fighter against the Dire Wraiths, which are from Marvel. The old Marvel villains, Dire Wraiths, are in this, and they've come and they've taken over a lot of the Earth. They've kind of body snatched a lot of people around the Earth, and Rom is trying to find humans that are still human to join him to fight the Dire Wraiths off. And coming into this at different points are you got G.I. Joe, you got Scarlet and Roadblocker in this the first issue, the first part of this trade. And then later on, you get into Optimus Prime, and a bunch of the Transformers show up. So it's crossing over through all of IDW's series, pretty much. And well, it's cool because it's like all their toys, like Transformers, G.I. Joe, ROM is a toy. It's like all toys. All these toy series are crossing over, and he finds a girl in a town that's completely overrun with Dire Wraiths, and he rescues her, but he needs her to use as a guide because he's from space. He doesn't even know where he's at. He's on Earth. He doesn't know anything about Earth or where to find what he's looking for or anything like that. So he says he needs a human to accompany him to show him the way around. But I really dig it, man. I didn't know what to expect from a ROM IDW book. I knew what to expect. Hickman was using the Space Knights of Galador in Infinity even just recently. So I mean, I'm familiar with the Marvel version of ROM. So this was all new to me, but very cool. I love the way they're crossing it over. I love that G.I. Joe and Transformers are getting involved, and it's a huge, overreaching arc of this alien invasion of the Dire Wraiths. And there's all these different levels of Dire Wraiths. They all do different weird things, and they use dark magic and stuff. And it's, man, I really dig it. I think if you're a fan of the Marvel ROM, I think this is just close enough. You'd probably dig this. I mean, it's like I said, they use the Dire Wraiths from old school Marvel in this. And I think that if you're a fan of the old ROM, you probably dig this. I really like this myself, personally. I would almost give it a book of the week if there wasn't a couple other things that I maybe liked a little bit more. But that was ROM Cold Fire Hot War from IDW. And that's going to wrap up IDW for me.
All right, moving on to Boom Comics. I started off with Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 30, another issue in the Shattered Grid storyline. Rangers are assembled. The Rangers are assembled, ready to mount their attack on Lord Draken. Meanwhile, Zordon has decided to, that old thing, that old adage, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Yeah.
You know that old adage? Well, he has done that by reaching out to Rita Repulsa, who is pretty much the only person who's ever actually been able to take away a Green Ranger's power.
I'm actually know who that is, so I can follow along here.
Yeah.
I actually know that character.
So the Rangers are assembling multiple Rangers from all the different incarnations of the Power Rangers. They show them kind of getting along. They show massive shots of all of them in a crowd. They're Zords. They're Megazords. One of the really cool things in this is Kimberly. Jason gives her the Dragon Dagger and tells her to pilot the Dragon Zord, which also gives her the Green Ranger gold shield around her chest.
Really? So if they like if like the Red Ranger goes and jumps in like the other dude's like sword, he'll become that Ranger instead.
Well, if he's holding the sword and is at that moment the master of the Dragon Zord, yeah, he has the
I didn't know that.
shield, so he gives it to Kimberly. So yeah, this book is massive battle. It is all out Ranger battle while Zordon and Rita are trying to take away the Green Ranger's power.
Yet again, why I say that these comic books translate much better than the TV show does. Like these comic books are better than the show.
Right.
I think. Like I could enjoy these comic books because it's not just the kiddie sound effects and like whoa, wacky, goofy. It's not like they're not like that. The books aren't like that at all. They like actually take this pretty seriously.
Right. So that's what's going on in Power Rangers. Excellent artwork this week. Splash pages are great. Lots of color, especially with the different Rangers. You know, when the Pink Ranger's firing, it's the pink backgrounds going up against the green backgrounds of the Lord Draken.
Those Power Ranger covers are tight, man. Every time, all of them.
Right.
It looks awesome.
The only thing, like usual, is they always block out the last 3 pages, so I don't know how this ends, and that's the way to make the reviewers go out and buy them. Buy the book. But Danielle D. Nicolo doing the artwork on here. Kyle Higgins, of course, the writer. With the backup story, The New Adventures of Blue Centurion and Ninjor by Ryan Ferreira and illustrated by Bakken. Once again, this storyline is amazing. I love it. I love how they're bringing all these different incarnations of the Rangers together, how they are implementing the mentors, showing alternate universes, love, lost, all this good stuff. The only question I have is one of the Rangers that they show in one of the splash pages is what they called the Gold Ranger in the Zeo Power Rangers. Okay, Power Ranger Zeo. The Gold Ranger was Jason, the original Red Ranger, who is in the book as the Red Ranger. So my question is this him from the future? Which it could be, since they're pulling Rangers from all different timelines. It could be his future self. It's kind of this little thing I caught in there as a fan of the original series of how does that work? But no, excellent book once again from Boom this week on with Power Rangers.
Right on. For me, for Boom, from last week, I read RoboCop: Citizen's Arrest #5, which is it was pretty good. It's the company has now decided that they tried out this new fully robotic android police thing, kind of like Ed 209, but they were more human-sized, these other kind of robots, and they malfunctioned and they didn't work right. So and Murphy, the original RoboCop, had gotten rid of his. He was able to purge himself of the protocols, the original protocols he was given that inhibit his ability to think on his own and to act against like an OCP operative or whatever. He got rid of that through a computer programming deal. So now Alex Murphy is just free to be himself as RoboCop. And so they, in an effort to get him, I believe, they started the human RoboCop program up again. So now there's another RoboCop, and they put him out with Murphy on the street, and the guy tries to kill Murphy. Like they're trying to pretty much assassinate RoboCop, and Murphy has to get him to override his programming too. And then he ends up bringing the guy back from being a robotic automaton to coming back to his family and stuff, the way Murphy kind of did.
Right.
So I really dig the RoboCop series from Boom. Those are pretty good. So let me see. I can give you a quick. Give you a quick. What the hell? That's weird. It's making me sign in again. Okay. Okay, here we go. That's by, I think, is it Brian Wood? All right, so this. Brian Wood was the writer. Artist is Jorge Coelho, I guess that's how you say. Cover artist Nimit Malavia. Subscription cover by David Rubin. Colorist Doug Garbark and letter Ed Dukeshire. Pretty good. I kind of dig. I like the Frank Miller RoboCop series that they did a while back too, and so that was RoboCop number 5. That was from August 8th. The release is for August 8th. For this week, let me get back up to the top of the page. Everything's frozen. Awesome. Just what I need. Just what I need. Get rid of the IDW stuff now. All right, boom. Are you ever going to load? The deal. Of course.
Well, so while you're doing that, I also read Ruin World number 2 of 5 this week. Derek Laughman's Ruin World, created, written, and illustrated by Derek Laughman with lettering by Warren Montgomery. Another colorful adventure with Rex and Pogo.
Yeah, that book looks pretty cool. That's the one that's kind of like Scotty Young.
Yeah, it's a fun book. So they're after Barry, who stole their map, and it's a classic, like almost like it really is like a classic fantasy like story you would kind of see maybe on like a Cartoon Network or something like that.
Yeah.
In the art. New characters are introduced in this story. One is a very rambunctious archer of a chipmunk, I think. And you also kind of get you get introduced to the major villains of the story. Really good artwork, a lot of good dialogue between all the characters as per usual. There's a giant hammer. There's a battle with this giant rock monster. I mean, it's all sorts of all ages fun in this book. The artwork is amazing. I just can't say enough about it because it really is one of those books that's just colorful, it's fun, and it's enjoyable. It's got the fantasy, the adventure, the swords, the sorcery.
Artwork is pretty tight, man.
Yeah.
And it's really clean looking, cool, like caricatures of animals. And
yeah, they introduce so many characters in this. It's just really good. I like it.
Right on. Okay, I got my page up now. For me, for the releases for this week, I read By Night, number 3, which By Night is, I've been reviewing it every week that it's been out.
Right.
It's by John Allison, Christine Larson, and Sarah Stern. This is a story, it's drawn in almost like an old school comic book art kind of style, and which I kind of dig about it. And it's basically these two girls, Heather and Jane, live in this town where this guy had this factory, and was like the big kind of employer of the town. But the owner of this factory was like a real eccentric guy, and he built in the back of the factory in his office, he built this weird theater room, and he put this big projector device in it, but it opens a portal to another world with lunar light somehow, has something to do with it. And it opens this alternate dimension, and this Heather and Jane girl go into it. And they brought their friend with them in the last issue in case they didn't come back, to go get somebody to help get them out. And they went in and disappeared in the last thing, and it just cut off right there where he didn't know what to do. The doorway shut, and they were still inside of it. So he goes, they gave him a note to give this Jane girl's dad in case they got trapped in there, to go give him the note. And so he does that, and then the dad's kind of a funny character because he's just kind of an old dude that just doesn't have time for your shit. And and so he goes, and they find out he finds out the guy's not lying. He's telling the truth about this portal. And he's like, they finally figure out how to turn it on, and it opens the portal to the other dimension. And they're arguing about who's going to go in and get them out. And then the two girls come falling out of the portal back into the real world. And they managed to get footage of this alternate dimension. And now they're at the end of it, they're planning on going back in and like fully exploring this world. But when they went in the last issue, when they went in this other dimension, it was like had goblins and I think they call them, what does she call them? They're like some kind of evil spirit creatures that were chasing them, that chased them back into the portal. But there's like a little green goblin guy that helped them out, that helped them escape. But it's pretty good. That's By Night number 3. And then going back, I can tell you that Coda, my favorite book I almost said I did. My favorite book Boom is doing right now is called Coda, and I believe it's by Simon Spurrier. And for some god awful reason, my Wi-Fi is awful tonight, and I'm not. Let me see what the problem is. It says I'm connected, but for some reason, my Boom Studios is not wanting to refresh. I don't know why. Let me see. Okay, there we go. Oh, it's just kept burning. Okay, there we go. Yeah, Coda number 4 would be my next one up. I read a few Booms this week, but that's by Simon Spurrier and Matthias Bergara. And let me tell you something. Matthias Bergara is a fantastic artist. This artwork is some of the best comic art I've seen in a long time, and it's very stylized and unique, and it's not anatomically correct artwork, which I don't necessarily care for anatomically correct artwork. I like my comics to be a little out there and kind of stylized. But this one is the last issue. He managed to get his elf warlord wife out of a magic ring. And now she has become a member of this paladin group for this city that he barely escaped from last time. So now he's kind of forced to, his wife kind of just said, yeah, I'll be the Paladins of Peace Guard. And so they're going to go out and find the big ogre that attacked their city and kill it. That is their next mission. And she's making him go with her out to kill this giant monster. But the wife is pretty cool. She's this purple elf lady, and she's got this crazy magic armor and a big, like, it's like a troll with no legs, but it has 2 big knobby spiked wheels and pulls her like a chariot. It's like a big, like, gorilla looking troll thing. And it's pretty cool. And but these things called Witlords are the I think they're like the elvish race of this dark lord that kind of destroyed the magic world and kind of tore everything asunder. And this elf woman hates these guys, hates these Witlord creatures. And her husband, the character Hum in this, is he is known that there's one still alive ruling a kingdom somewhere, and he didn't tell her. And she gets really mad at him because she has a thing. The reason she's this warrior woman is because she has like some kind of demon or something inside of her. And after so long, it like builds up almost like lycanthropy, and she just goes berserker rage and like kills everything in sight. So they just basically wait till there's like a warring faction coming at them or like an enemy, and she gets like that. They just kind of turn her loose on those guys and let her take care of business. But this Hum guy wants to free her from this curse of this berserker rage curse. So he brought this. They go to this witch that they've dealt with before that gave them iron for their weapons before, and he brings her the whole still living talking head of an elf to take the magic to break the curse from his wife. So man, yeah, I love this book. I think it's some of the best original, just cool looking artwork and comics that I've read in a long time. I really look forward to this one every month. Though, like the beginning of it, it kind of has a flashback to the time before. It gives you a little backstory about this world that they live in before it all turned to this kind of wasteland. And it's kind of like Sauron in The Ring. It's basically kind of like that, where they were able to take down the power of this Dark Lord, but he still managed to destroy everything.
Right.
They kind of lost, and there's still like factions of these dark creatures everywhere in this world. But man, yeah, I highly, for anybody out there looking for a new original series, and you kind of burned out on Image because Image puts out so many titles and you don't know what they're going to continue on and how long it's going to take. Coda comes out on time. It's been out on time every time so far. And I'm telling you, this book is every bit as cool and original and indie and all that people love as anything Image has got. So I highly recommend Coda. It's probably one of the best comics out right now.
All right.
Do you have any more from Boom?
I do not.
I have, let's see, I think I got one more. Let's see, stop that. Do that. And okay. And I'm once again having major problems with my stupid. Of course. Well, I read the Beneath the Dark Crystal #2, which is basically continue on after. This is the story that the Dark Crystal books at Boom continue on after the movie The Dark Crystal. So this is the continuing story of the world. And let's see. I guess I'll exit the page. There we go. And it goes. I don't know what's going on with my computer. It's all of a sudden decided to come back now. We'll see. 1 second if that comes back. But Beneath the Dark Crystal is basically, there's two different worlds in the Dark Crystal world. There's this one called Mithra, which is like a fire world. It very much reminds me of Adventure Time, like the Fire Kingdom in Adventure Time. But it's these fire elf people that kind of live there. I'm not sure exactly what their race is called, but they live in this land called Mithra, and then you have like the regular world of the Dark Crystal. It's like this kind of mirror image of it. And basically, there's like two factions fighting for the throne over in this Mithra, and it's the one is a young girl that thought she was destined to be the queen of this realm. Her name's Therma. This girl that's going to be the queen of this fire kingdom, but a challenger to the throne shows up and is able to light this ancient flame thing that she didn't know she could do. So she kind of got forced out of the throne in her kingdom, and now she's got to do this contest with this challenger, and if she loses, she'll be banished from their fire kingdom, which I think is going to happen because she's actually the love interest of the guy Kinsho, who's actually in the Dark Crystal in the Crystal Castle world, and Thra. Thra is the world of the Dark Crystal. Mithra is this other mirror world, and this guy Kinsho is they're like they love each other, I guess, but they can't be together because they're both like royalty from two different worlds or some crazy shit like that. But I have a feeling she's going to get banished to Thra and end up hooking up with this Kinsho guy again. But basically, he's stolen a bunch of stuff because he's trying to help out all the people that live outside of the Crystal Castle, all out in the lands that have been devastated by the Dark Crystal and all the stuff that's going on. And he's trying to set their world right too. So it's kind of this weird kind of mirror image world. Like you got two different stories going on. You got Therma and you got Kinsho. They're two stories going on at the same time in these two different worlds. And they really want to be together, but they have responsibilities to deal with. So pretty good. I like all the Dark Crystal books from Boom too. They've all the quality art, quality stories. Every bit as good as a good continuation of the movie, I think. Very respectful of the source material. The writer is Adam Smith, artist Alexandria Huntington. The cover artist, the main cover, Benjamin Dewey, subscription cover, David Peterson, incentive cover by Lee Garbitz, and lettering by Jim Campbell. Pretty damn good books. I dig the Dark Crystal. I really liked that the big trade the hardcover that I read. From Boom. That was pretty damn good. But that's going to wrap up Boom for me for this week.
All right, so we are going to move on to DC Comics.
Yes, sir.
So I first read Pearl this week. Did you read Pearl?
I did read Pearl. Yeah, that's the one I was going to see if you read it because it was interesting. I kind of dug it.
Yeah, so I read Pearl this week by Bendis and Gatos, who are also the creative geniuses behind Jessica Jones. So basically what we have here is the story of a girl who is an exceptional tattoo artist and also has a exceptional tattoo on her. But somehow there's also the Yakuza, and she owes a debt to like a rival family.
Yeah, I think she's part of a Yakuza clan, like a Yakuza family. And she's gained favor with the head of this clan because she has such a good tattoo. She's a personal tattoo artist to the head of this Yakuza clan.
Right. I don't want to give too much away because it is such an interesting book, but the artwork is amazing. A lot of good colors in there, a lot of shadows and darkness.
Yeah, I really dug it, man. There was a lot of action in it too for a opening first issue of a Bendis series. It was quite a bit of action.
Opening the first issue as I slide down here, get comfortable. First issue of a Bendis series, and one of the lines in there is "reach around."
Yeah.
You know,
that just reminds me. This is a total off the cuff thing, but I saw Deadpool 2, and I can't stop saying "shirt cocking." By the way. You got to see it. It's funny.
Right. So, I highly recommend it. I think this is a good book. It's one of Bendis's, creator-owned books. I think it's amazing. It also has a second story in it, which is actually a reprint of his old Batman Elsewhere story.
Yeah. The Citizen Wayne. It's the Citizen Kane with Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. So excellent there. I think I am seeing maybe a resurgence of Bendis now that he's at DC.
Yeah, it seems to put some wind in his sails. Like, I'm digging Superman. Like last week's Superman is the one.
Go ahead and talk about it.
Oh well, it was the one where Superman was dealing with being in the Phantom Zone, like the whole Earth and everything.
Okay.
And, I believe Batman shits his pants in that issue because everybody's feeling it, right? Because they're in the Phantom Zone.
Right. It's
starting to upset the equilibrium of everything because the whole planet Earth is in the Phantom Zone.
Right.
So everything is starting to be imbalanced, and Superman gets John Jones to connect the league. So they connect the league, and you hear Batman saying, "Yeah, I don't feel really good. This is Batman. I'm feeling some trouble in my stomach." And then Batman takes a shit in their heads in his bat suit. But that's what I got from it. But Superman, it's basically Superman pondering a lot and pondering the fact that everything is not only is Rogal's Czar in there and actually on the moon, I think, or on some piece of debris from the Phantom Zone, and looking at Earth and coming back to fight Clark, and they do fight in space. But Clark is also very aware. He says that this is where Krypton has thrown its garbage for millennia. And there could be anything in there. There could be the most horrible things that Krypton couldn't even deal with their advanced technology are in the Phantom Zone, like out in the depths of it. And Clark knows they're all out there, and he's just waiting for them to try to get Earth. So they're in a desperate race to get Earth out of the Phantom Zone. So kudos to Bendis. I liked Pearl. I also liked Pearl a lot. And I think Superman's right on track, man. I'm digging it.
All right. Also, I read this week Batman number 53.
Yes, sir. Of course, never miss Batman.
This is pretty much the end of the Cold Days story arc, which I've enjoyed because to me it's kind of like 12 Angry Men.
Yeah, it's the 12 Angry Bruce Waynes.
12 Angry Bruce Waynes, and it is Bruce Wayne actually portraying like the Peter Fonda. Wait a minute, was it Peter Fonda in 12 Angry Men, or was it Henry Fonda? It was Peter Fonda. It was wait.
No, it's Henry Fonda.
It was Henry Fonda.
Peter Fonda's the hippie one.
Yeah, Henry Fonda. But he makes this impassionate speech about, all of us think Batman is God. Batman can do no wrong. Batman has saved us multiple times. We always look for Batman to save us. We pray to the Batman, but Batman is a man. He makes mistakes. He's fallible.
Yeah, and he basically tells them, look, we're doing Batman a disservice by elevating him to God level, because when he does screw up, then we'll turn on him. It's kind of a double-edged sword to be a deity in the eyes of people. And you know what? One of the things I really liked about this issue of Batman was that it also deals with the fact that you almost have to think of Batman and Bruce Wayne as two separate people in this arc.
Right.
Because he's basically creating justice and then manipulating the court system from the inside of this. So I mean, he got a guy sent up the river, and then he had to find a way to get the guy off of being sent up the river because he knew he made a mistake. But they never ever said that there still is a good chance Mr. Freeze killed those women. But the fact that there could be doubt is the reason that they had to let him go, because Batman literally beat the confession out of Mr. Freeze. So I mean, it's you got that weird Batman and Bruce Wayne manipulating the system, and does Bruce Wayne literally think of himself as a different person than the Batman, or does he concede they are one and the same? Because the way Bruce Wayne talks in this issue, it's almost as if Bruce Wayne himself believes that Batman is a separate, completely different entity that just inhabits his body. So that was kind of weird about it. But yeah, I mean, I really liked this storyline. I thought it was good. I think Tom King's Batman is great, man. I've heard. I think it's mainly just those two cool for school people that gotta just shit on everything that is basically mainstream or popular. That don't like Tom King's Batman. But I mean, I like Tom King's Batman. I really like it. It's been really good since he started. So Batman 53, pretty awesome. The only other one that I read this week was Justice League number 6. Are you keeping up with Justice League?
Trying to. I didn't get to that one this week, though.
Basically, this week it's you got the standoff between Luthor. Luthor is in Superman's body. Like what they were going to go into that anomaly called the what do they call it? I keep forgetting what it's called. It's like a energy thing that came from the source wall that came to Earth, and supposedly it's like the God equation that can help everybody or destroy everybody, or they don't really even know what it is. It's power, right? And Lex Luthor wants it real bad, and the only people who could get close, the only people whose physiology was strong enough to get close to it, were Superman and Martian Manhunter. So what they did is they did a fantastic voyage on Batman and Hawkgirl, shrunk them down to microscopic size, and injected them into Superman and Martian Manhunter. So you got Batman inside of Superman, and Hawkgirl is inside of Martian Manhunter's brain. And so they're along for the ride so that they can get in too inside of this energy field. And what they don't know is that Lex Luthor and the Joker, Lex Luthor and Superman and the Joker in Martian Manhunter have snuck in and have taken over the craft with Batman and Hawkgirl. So basically they take over and turn Superman and Martian Manhunter evil, and he pushes them towards this energy source to steal it. And so right when he's getting there, Batman comes back and breaks into the capsule again, has some scuffling with Luthor. Everything gets, they're able to pull everybody out of this, out of the situation. I think they open a boom tube and get them out, to pull them back to the lab where Cyborg is. And outside of that, like the entire Earth is turning into the invisible spectrum core with Sinestro. So you've got and John Stewart now John Stewart's invisible spectrum, but he's been able to fight Sinestro, and now he's still fighting for the League. He hasn't been turned by Sinestro, but he's got an invisible spectrum ring now and an invisible spectrum costume. Sinestro shattered John Stewart's ring, I believe, in one of the last ones. But it's basically pretty screwed up right now. Scott Snyder writes some pretty dark Justice League, by the way.
Right.
It's like everything's hopeless, man. Every time Snyder is around with the Justice League, it's just hopeless scenario. Metal was another good example of it just seems hopeless, and then something gives. But I'm digging it so far. It's they managed to pull everybody back and regroup, and but you've got Luthor now has possession of this source wall power, and we got to see what comes of that. But yeah, Justice League is kicking ass. Superman is kicking ass. Batman is kicking ass as usual.
Exactly.
And I really dug Pearl a lot this week.
So those are your books for this week coming out, and a few from the other past weeks that we didn't get to. Make sure you go out to your shop this week, pick up your books, pick up some trades, pick up some back issues, give some love. I know I got to go and give some love to my comic book guy because it's been a few weeks.
Yeah.
I got to go give him some love. If you want to follow us on the Twitter, it's SpaceChief75, Nerd Rage Renegades on the Twitter. If you want to follow us on Twitch, Nerd Rage Renegades on Twitch, Nerd_Rage_Renegades on Twitch. We are on the road to 150, the road to 150 followers on Twitch. We need 25 more. If you want to check it out, Nerd Rage Renegades on Twitch. That's where the Nerd Rage Renegades podcast is. That's where all gameplay streams are going to be. And coming soon, that is where the Spider-Man gameplay will be coming September 7th of this year.
Oh, when's the new commentary coming out? I forgot to ask.
New commentary will be out by the end of the week. I had a little bit of an issue. I was trying to delete some stuff off my computer, and I deleted the movie, not the commentary, but the movie of Alice. So it was no longer in my editing program. It was a mistake on my part, but it's almost done. I got the movie back downloaded. It's in the editor, so that will be out by the end of the week. Excellent. Can't wait for that. And coming soon, once I get an external hard drive, Conan Exiles gameplay. I need to sit in on that too because I gotta. I got to see how that game. I want to get that myself, and I just kind of want to check it out too. Get that game and come into our clan, dude. Yeah, that would be fun. Oh yeah, it's like the perfect game, man. I love Robert Howard. You can actually get people to turn a wheel, so you and I could sit there, watch them turn the wheel, and go in each day, walking in circles. Man, I tell you, I'll be talking like Conan in real life all the time if I start playing that because I know, right? I'm a Conan fanatic. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you next time with more Renegade Reviews. Good night, everybody.